When a divorced dad was ordered to pay child support for a child who isn't his, he turned to our Target 8 investigators for help. We uncovered it's perfectly legal for the state to order him to pay support for another man's child and to deny biological fathers who want to pay from doing so. Target 8's Heather Walker exposes a law that's being called outrageous.
What's going on, buddy?
Joseph Shamilar is a divorced dad of 2.
Yeah.
Not even 9 months after the split, Joe got some shocking news from his boys.
And they got in the car and they were bouncing up and down, telling me that mom has a new baby. And I said, well, is she babysitting? Is she, is she looking after someone?
So you didn't think it was real?
No, I had no idea.
His ex-wife had given birth. She had gotten pregnant during their separation by another man. Legally, she was still married to Joe. Court papers clearly acknowledge the baby is not Joe's, but Albert Bush's, and that Bush had established a personal, financial, or custodial relationship with the child. The court ordered medical expenses be split between the biological parents. But the Friday before Father's Day, Joe got a letter in the mail from friend of the court.
I thought, my God, this is hilarious. It's Father's Day weekend, and here's the biggest joke that I think I've ever had played on me transpiring right now.
The letter said he owed $8,500 in back child support plus medical expenses for a baby his ex-wife had with another man. So the court was asking you to pay for a child that's not yours.
Exactly.
I went to Ottawa County friend of the court office to get answers. How is this legal? Their spokesperson agreed to do an on-camera interview, but on the scheduled day changed his mind and would only answer our questions over the phone. He told us it didn't matter who the biological dad is, only what's in the best interest of the child. In other words, which one can take best care of the child financially. The court decided that was Joe. Do you think this law needs to be changed in any way? We went straight to the man who tried to fix the law, Senator Rick Jones.
I certainly would agree that if you're married to someone, they then run off and have a child by another man, that you should not have to pay child support. That seems a bit outrageous.
The original law was written back in 1956. It said if a child is born to a married woman, the biological dad has no legal rights. Last year, it was updated to allow husbands like Joe to fight financial responsibility. What's the biggest problem with the law and the language, would you say?
It's not clearly drafted.
Melissa Drake is Joe's attorney. She tells us the law isn't just failing him, it's not working for biological dads either. Rob Recknagel says he's had trouble eating and sleeping since his son was born.
Every single day that goes by that I don't get to see him, it just gets tougher. I don't know what he looks like.
Rob says he searched online hospital nurseries just to see if he could find his son. He says he didn't know his girlfriend was still married when they got together. Rob says they were planning to blend their families. Rob bought a ring, but before she gave birth, Rob says he got this email saying although the baby was his, she was going to raise it with her husband.
I'm standing here saying I want my son in my life. I want to pay child support. Let's sign the proper documents and let me just do that.
You're trying to do the right thing.
That's all I want.
What can be done about this?
What can be done about this is people should be more responsible and shouldn't have sex outside of marriage, shouldn't father children outside of marriage, and should think before they act. That's what needs to happen. Could we do more? Yes. Could we fine-tune it? Yes. Should a father have to pay support on a child when it's not his child? No. So we do need to do more, but we've made some monumental changes.
Heather Walker reporting. Well, after we started questioning friend of the court, it dropped its request for Joe to pay child support. In fact, 10 days ago, an Ottawa County judge issued an order clearing Joe of all responsibility for that child. As for Rob, he was able to see his son, but only for an hour. He's still fighting in court to get legal rights for regular visits.
How fucked up, dude. I mean, luckily, I guess because it gets more news attention, at the end, they said, hey, maybe this isn't the best case to pursue. But only because probably it's gotten the attention that it did with the news story and all that stuff like that. But a lot of people would have been fucked. You know, I think that's crazy. Some of these laws are insane, dude. Like, why should I be responsible for a child that isn't biologically mine? You know?
So the first guy, I guess he won. ultimately.
Yeah.
They kind of wiped all responsibility. But then the second guy was still getting screwed because of that same law. Basically saying, like, hey, even though it's yours, you didn't raise him, so it's not really yours.
Yeah.
So he can't see his own son
Fucking an
because
hour.
the woman cheated.
But she's married to somebody else.
Right.
And then
Yeah, they
Yeah.
separated. So technically they didn't cheat. They just weren't together, right? Separated. And had sex with another man, had a baby, got back with her husband. And then the guy, the father can't
the actual
even
father.
see.
That's so fucked up, dude.
Right, dude?
But also, it's like, dude, you have to be honest with you, bro. Like, you gotta know who you are having sex with. Like, you want to tell me that this person, this is obviously not a good woman. Because the right woman would do the proper thing and say, you know what, things happen, whatever. This is you're the father, and you have a chance to be in this kid's life, regardless of who I am with. That would have been the morally right thing to do. And vice versa, if you're not the biological father, I will not force you to pay child support, right? Regardless of what the law says, may or may not say. And it's like, dude, like, you gotta know the person that you're laying down with, what character they possess, because a lot of these people are just no good, and unfortunately, for better or for worse, some of these laws protect the people that they shouldn't be protecting, and in this case, it clearly happened. So it's fucked up, you know, and you know, there's some people who say, like, by what they should do is that any baby that's born, they should do an automatic paternity test.
I agree.
And then there's a lot of women like, no, like, because then the woman, you know, this is your baby. It came out of your womb. It's yours. But
I guess it's for the man's.
it's for the man. And then so I know that some women get offended by that. It's like, oh, you're
Funny,
insinuating that
I told Christina that I wanted to get the paternity test.
And she got offended?
She's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, dude, but like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of stupid because I almost want it as like a certificate to be like, listen, bitch, I'm yours. When the day he's old enough, I'm like, look who says your father. We'll fuck you up. Type shit. Like, that's what I would want it. But she's like, no, that's super fucked up. I would never want to. So yeah, I guess women do get offended.
It do. Claudia was getting, like, I mentioned,
Really?
that she got offended too. She's
Why?
like, oh, because that I would never cheat on you, and if you doubt that this is your kid, obviously the only alternative is that I was unfaithful to you. And so she's like, oh, it will be out of the question that I would ever do anything.
Right, but how many other women who have cheated said the same thing?
100%. And there was a statistic that I don't have the exact number, but there's a large amount of men in this country that are raising kids that are not theirs, right? So it's like, because women, like, for whatever reason, they don't want to know, or they do know, and things didn't work out, whatever the fuck. But most women who know that the kid isn't theirs, isn't the man that they're with, they don't want to say anything, because if they did, that man would leave their life. Maybe the actual father left before, or there was a fling, whatever the fuck. So they're like, okay, like, let me just pretend like that this is his kid, even if it isn't. And so a lot of men, they go through life finding out that later on that, yo, fuck, like, I provided for this kid and it isn't mine. That's fucked up.
That's evil.
It is so messed up. And so I don't know. I feel like, especially like, I think, and I told Claudia, let's say whatever, we separate or things happen, and then we get back together, and like 2 months later, you're pregnant. I feel like for sure I would want to do a paternity test, especially if there was a gap. And then I told her, and she's like, yeah, like, I guess if we're separated, it would make sense. But otherwise, it wouldn't be acceptable to even bring that up. What do you think? Or let's say you have a kid, and then the baby fucking birth, or the baby comes out and it's like a ginger, like, or
It does happen though.
yeah, or black. What would you be? Would you be like,
No, I mean, obviously, yeah. To your point, that like whatever the statistic is, I have heard that before.
Yes,
something like
you've
that.
heard
There's
something like that, right?
the number is more than zero.
it's more,
Definitely more than zero. That
Well,
there
then
are
it
people.
should.
There are a lot of men who do not know that they're raising somebody else's child because the woman just doesn't tell them.
Right.
Didn't tell them.
And even if there's a chance, like a paternity test at birth is like quick, it's simple, it's very easy to do. So why wouldn't you do it?
That I wouldn't understand. That we would need to ask a woman.
Yeah.
Why? But I do think it's a little selfish and childish for a response to be, well, I would never cheat on you. It's like, I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to say? Whether you do it or not, if you cheated and you said that, you lied. It happens all the time. So how true is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people who do get cheated on have had that been told to them. I would never cheat on you. And they do.
It's like, of course you're gonna say it.
Right. So then it's like you can't expect me to just have you say, I would never cheat on you. And expect me to just believe that. Like I would want to, but there's a lot of motherfuckers who believed it too and got cheated on.
Yeah. And raising somebody else's kid. Fuck.
It could be you.
Could be, yeah.
Could be us.
Could be us. Fucking suckers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't happen to me.
You getting the paternity test?
I think so, yeah. Depends how the baby comes out. If the baby looks exactly like me. But if the baby comes out and it looks like nothing remotely like me, I'll be like, I have a few questions.
Really?
Well, you wouldn't? You wouldn't have questions if the baby comes out and it looks like fucking LeBron James or some shit like that? You'd be like, okay, what happened here?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You would, for sure. So I guess I would love to know what the audience thinks, like, especially women. Because I know my lady's response. We know your lady response, but maybe some other woman are like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't take offense, whatever. Let us know,
I'm also wondering, like, what do you think is a greater evil? When a guy cheats or when a woman cheats?
They're equally bad.
They are equally bad. But look, to your point, let's say if you were to have sex with a girl, well, no, because if she gets pregnant, then it's also your kid.
Yeah.
And you didn't make the baby, you're still good. The woman did have the baby. Now she has a child with some guy that she's not with.
Okay.
So is a single mom worse than a single dad?
Why? Because they chose to have the baby and gave birth to the baby?
No, just like if you just look at the situation, because the guy, I mean, he could be a single father, but do you think like they have like a better societal acceptance than a single mother?
No, obviously, societal speaking, the woman is obviously judged more harshly than men as a single parent. And it's usually because, who does a kid generally reside with most? The mother. So it's like, there's single fathers who live like a fucking normal life. Like, you wouldn't even think they have kids.
No, but what if they are like it's like good single dads? Like, what if it's just like a clean 50-50 split?
Which is worse? Or societal speaking? Yeah, for sure, women.
Yeah.
Women have that stigma of like, well, single mom and baby mama, da-da-da.
Well, then maybe
baggage.
that's why they lie.
Subconsciously,
That's
maybe.
why they the statistics that you had talked about earlier, maybe that's why it happened.
Because they don't want to be single. Yeah, for a multitude of reasons. They don't want to be single moms. They don't want to raise a kid alone. They don't want, maybe they care about the guy. They don't want this guy to leave, knowing exactly what would happen if they would come clean. That's devastating. There are some guys who would say, listen, shit happens, I'll still raise it. There's a few of those men out there. But they don't want to take the chance of finding out what type of men they're dating.
Have you ever seen on, the show Maury?
Yeah, of course. You are not the father.
You know those guys that they're like, oh, you are not the father, and they're still like, I'm still going to raise a child as my own. What do you think of those guys?
It's the things I don't know the circumstance. Because, like, if I meet a woman, I just met her, and there was an ex involved, whatever, and we were becoming serious, whatever. She finds out she's pregnant, whatever, and I really like this woman. Maybe I would say, you know what? This was before you and I met. Even if it was very recent, I really like this girl. Maybe I would say, you know what? I'm going to raise this kid. But if it's something like in my current situation, we break up and then 6 months later we get back together and I find out you were with somebody else, of course, I'd be like, no, wait. I would never be able to do that. At least, like how I feel about it. But it takes a special type of man to raise somebody else's kid, man. It's very, very tough.
What if the father like really isn't in the picture and he's a deadbeat, and would you say, hey, that's your fucking problem then?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
I get it. It depends. If I just met the woman and I'm single and I'm
no, you didn't just meet her.
I've been involved with her.
Say Claudia.
No, man. Dude. There's no scenario in the world.
You guys separate. You guys separate for like a couple months. You do your thing. She does her thing. She comes back with
No.
a baby, and
No.
and the baby daddy got hit by a car, so he ain't even in the picture. She's like, Marvin, I made one mistake.
It's not. It's multitude of mistakes that she made.
We both separated, and I did my thing. You did your thing.
Right, but
I came back with a thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so
And but the guy.
Yeah, sounds like a personal problem, dude. Not my problem. Yeah, at that point I'll be like, yo, no way, deuces.
Okay.
What about you?
No, yes.
You
It's
sure?
the same.
You sure?
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I can't imagine raising somebody else's kid. Like not in that context. You know? But if I meet somebody, you know, and then something comes from that, different circumstance maybe. But some like Claudia, like my partner right now, no way, dude. So if then we have kids eventually, you know, and then I guess depends how the kid comes out, you know. I'll decide on how to proceed. But I feel like it makes common sense. It's common sense to me to just they do a bunch of tests at birth. I feel like paternity tests for the men should be just automatically done.
Yeah, like why should it even be a question?
Especially because once you write down your name on the birth certificate as a man, you take on that responsibility, regardless of whether or not that kid biologically is yours. So it's like it kind of should come with a prerequisite. Before you sign this, we got to
You
do
think
a
it's
quick
mandatory?
test.
You think it's mandatory to have that test?
I think it should be, or highly recommended by the physician and the doctor. Like, hey, just know that if you sign this, you take on full responsibility. We can do a quick paternity test to ease your mind.
I don't even know why. No, they shouldn't. This should
This-
just be
this should
standard
It should be
protocol.
standard procedure, dude.
Hey, the child is healthy, doesn't have anything, blood is good, all these things. Oh, by the way, genetics, you're the father.
Yeah.
Da, da, da.
And then you could be like, well, I already knew that. All right, good for you, guy. Good. Sure. But I
All
get,
right,
but I
good for you, guy.
Yeah, good. But I guarantee you, if they would do that everywhere across the country, there would be some cases where the woman would be like, fuck, I don't want this to happen.
Right.
You know, hey, can we not do this or whatever?
Maybe it should be mandatory.
It should be mandatory.
But then what would be the solution? What problem are we solving?
The problem of men raising kids that aren't theirs
And being
without being deceived by it and without knowing. Because there's going to be some guys who say, they find out, hey, this is not mine. Well, you know what? I'm going to raise it anyways. More power to you. But you should have the right to know.
also holding accountability as well to the actual father, you know, to relieve the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
also
And then
for
finding
being
out, because there's going to be some guys out there who who didn't know that they have a kid, who years later on find out that the person that they didn't work out with had the kid this whole time. That's fucked up too.
Do we know how accurate that test is for paternity? Because what if they do it and it has like some
No,
false
I mean, dude.
false positive or false negatives? It's like you're the father. Imagine it comes back negative that you're not the father, and she never did anything.
A DNA paternity test is nearly 100% accurate.
Nearly.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's as accurate as things are in life, dude. Are you
So,
gonna yeah.
You
I
gonna get
wouldn't-
one?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, maybe. Depends.
Is there a way that we can do it like behind their back?
Yeah, when they're like sleeping, whatever, take the baby. Swap the baby real quick. I'll probably do something like that. Not to knock it out. I'll wait till she sleeps.
What if? Oh yeah. What if you do that behind their back and then she finds out?
I'll be like, baby, I wouldn't do it behind her back. I would do it letting her know. And then we'll see what she says.
It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
True, actually.
You should just do it. And be
Or
like,
just-
sorry, it already happened though.
At the time, we were good.
Rather than, hey, what do you think? And she's like, no. 'Cause you know?
Fair enough, yeah. Sounds about right. Fuck.
That sucks.
It sucks. It sucks for guys. I mean, I like to believe that my partner would never do something like that to me, which is hence why I'm with her and why I would want to get married to her and all that stuff, even have a kid with. But again, you never know, you know? It's like having, like, knowing. I guess there's a difference between knowing and, like, hoping, you know?
All I know is that I think that law needs to be changed. That's some fuck shit.
I concur.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, maybe if you have some personal experience with this, because we do have some people who message us and they say, "Yo, this happened to me. You can't believe it." And you listen, it's like a fucking script of a movie, and you're like, "Oh shit," people go through stuff. So if you've been one of those people, or this is applied to you, somebody that you know, you want to share your story, let us know. I would love to kind of actually hear from people been in the position, because we can talk all we want, but until you're in that position, it's different.
Yeah, share with us your stories. Let us know if you've been in this position before.
For
We'd love
sure.
to hear. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
See you guys. Ciao.